What more could you ask for? This is where you want to be, and if you weren't, you'd be wishing you were.
This is going to be a tough environment for these guys to play in tonight, and the Detroit Lions are ready to go.
The Detroit Lions are not going anywhere. Fully expect them to be in the new Detroit Lion fashion that we've seen as of lately.
From the first snap to the last snap, dominate!
It is caught. Touchdown Lions.
These are the best athletes in the world that he makes them look like they should not be out there with him.
He is gone! Touchdown!
Oh, caught touchdown Detroit. Jahmyr Gibbs.
The king is in! Touchdown Ravens!
Goes wide open downfield. It is caught. Touchdown Detroit Lions.
We believe in us. We're the ones who put in the work. They forgot about who we were. It's like they forgot that we're fighters.
Who's got it better than the champions?
Nobody! You can't coach that. You can't teach that. You can't stop that. What you willing to lay on the line? Let's go stop that.
Fire me up. Week 3 ain't for the weary. The first always to take a look at your great games each and every week. Pleased to be in studio alongside my guys, Joe Musso, Emory Hunt, and Bryant McFadden. Our eyes obviously go there as we take two elites in the NFL and put them on the same field. The Ravens and the Lions, Mac, mirrored in some ways disappointment in week 1 and emphatic bounce backs in week 2.
No question. It starts with the quarterbacks. Both quarterbacks had an outstanding game in week 2. You look at the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson is doing Lamar Jackson-ish type things in terms of his leadership within the offense. And Jared Goff had a heck of a performance against a divisional foe in the Chicago Bears, putting up 50-plus points. But one thing I like to monitor when you look at these two matchups, right, Lamar Jackson versus NFC teams, he's dominated that conference in totality. 24-4 is his record against NFC teams. His numbers in those said matchups, 48 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He's dominated, he's had a field day against NFC teams. And then when you look at the last 2 times these teams played off against each other, 2023, Lamar Jackson led the Baltimore Ravens to a 38-6 victory. Lamar Jackson completed 77% of his passes, 21-27, 357 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. Long story short, he's not afraid of the big bad Lions.
And the NFC is somewhere where he has found all of that success. And what I'm interested in seeing is how Detroit bounces back again. We saw them respond. How did they look after week 1? Came out and blitzed the Chicago Bears. And now they face a team in Baltimore, and how they come out and start against this Ravens team. This Ravens defense is going to be down Kyle Van Noy. For the Ravens, I'm looking at, hey, how can you start the game and can you finish strong? We've seen the Ravens up a game before where they come out like gangbusters, get bored, play with their food, and then they end up losing the ball game. Can they start and finish the same is what I'll be watching for this week for Baltimore.
That'll be standalone prime time with the world watching as you take a look at Lamar Jackson's numbers on Monday Night Football. I mean, you picked the qualifier. The man's numbers are sensational. As for matchup number 2 in our featured games in week 3, I think some similarities on each side of this one as well. LA, Philadelphia, NFC hopefuls, but Emory, these are 2 teams that I think it's fair to say haven't found that ceiling yet this season. The offense on both sides leaving a little bit to be desired. Who do you think takes that bigger step forward in week 3?
I think we'll see Philadelphia take that bigger step forward offensively, especially when you talk about what their explosives are. Their wide receiving core, their running back. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing most. Can Philadelphia get their offense jump-started in this ball game? We know they have the best running back in the game right now in Saquon Barkley. They have 2 number 1 wide receivers in Devonta Smith and also A.J. Brown. Can they get those guys a football? They've been playing great complementary football, great team ball. That's how they got these 2 wins, but they have to be explosive. If they start to being explosive against a team like L.A., then they're headed in the right direction.
In 2 games, undefeated. With that being said, we haven't seen Jalen Hurts in the passing game take off. Can they get things rolling against the Los Angeles Rams? When you look at the defensive front, they've been able to put pressure on any quarterback they face in 2 weeks of play. They've been outstanding. And then when you transition to the Rams, protecting Matthew Stafford, because with Jalen Carter in the lineup, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're a much better defensive unit led by their front. They harassed Pat Mahomes this past weekend. Can they protect Matthew Stafford? Because if they're not able to protect Matthew Stafford, he does not have the athleticism that Patrick Mahomes had, that he needed to show to extend plays and make things happen with his legs. But granted, I think this will be a playoff atmosphere like it was the last time we saw these teams face off, two high-level teams with championship aspirations.
All right, our final game that we're going to highlight here is proof and evidence that I do not produce the segment. If I did, we would have avoided it. But we're going to talk a little bit of Bears and Cowboys in Chicago, an evening matchup here, a 4:25 Eastern start. Obviously, you could point to a number of inefficiencies here for the Chicago Bears. The Dallas Cowboys, offensively at least, have found some success through 2 weeks. Emory, advantage there when you take a look at what Detroit did to this pass defense of Chicago. How do you think that Chicago bounces back to stop what is a high-powered offensive passing attack?
This is mostly about Ben Johnson for me. How can you adjust after the first 15 plays offensively, and how can you get your defense to really respond and stop the bleeding? Can your defense show up in this ball game against an offense like the Dallas Cowboys? You thought a team like Detroit had firepower. Well, Dallas does too on offense. And for the Cowboys, it's really simple for me. It's offensively speaking, the run game has been a surprise. So can you lean on that run game to kind of shrink this ball game and put a lot of pressure on Ben Johnson and his offense to maximize their possession? So for me, it's mostly about Ben Johnson. How can he perform? How can he adjust? And we'll see what the Bears do on the other side.
You talked about Ben Johnson. I think it's imperative for them to show life on the offensive end, starting with the quarterback. Because remember week 1 when we watched the Giants play, they were horrible against the Commanders, and everybody wanted to see a sense of urgency and better quarterback production. Well, it showed up against who? The Dallas Cowboys. We saw wide receiver after wide receiver getting behind defenders in the coverage for the New York Giants. If you're Ben Johnson, seeing how well Russell Wilson played, seeing how well his pass catchers played, you better find a way to get Caleb Williams to look the part against the Dallas Cowboys defensive unit. Because if you do not, we're going to start wondering what is going on, because Russell Wilson and Caleb Williams, they're not in the same neighborhood in terms of potential, talent, and quarterback attributes. We all would take and pick Caleb Williams. If Russell can have success against the Dallas Cowboys, Caleb needs to have success against the Dallas Cowboys as well. Most importantly, that would lead to wins, because if he's not balling, they could start off 0-3.
I think we can also say, if we look at pound for pound, the receiving core for the for the Bears and the Giants, the Bears have 3 legit studs at receiver. The Giants were able to do that with 1 legit stud. This is a game tailor-made for Caleb Williams to have so much success.
And don't forget about the tight ends that the Chicago Bears have as well. So it's safe to say they have better skilled positional players offensively than the New York Giants, who put up, north of 30 points against the Dallas Cowboys, and it was on the road. You're at home. It's home cooking. It's time to show up. The time is now.
Fine, I'm sold. I'm back. We'll see how it plays out between those two teams. Defensively, got to be better. Offensively, have to find that flow. You talk about that building. It's going to be a volatile crowd in Chicago that wants to see results right now. Here's a look at that Week 3 CBS Sunday slate. You get the Colts, the Titans in that 1 Eastern window. Then a battle of backups. The Wentz wagon playing host to Jake Browning's Bengals. Steelers and Patriots at 1 Eastern, as will be the Texans and Jaguars. You'll get a black and blue matchup between the Chargers and Broncos, who both want to establish that run.